Okay, it's 6:30, so I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we're going to start this evening with a land acknowledgement. Councillor Harris is going to read that, so over to you, Councillor Harris. Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Thank you,
There we
Mayor.
go.
The land on which the city of St. John or Mennequist is situated is the traditional territory of the Wolastoqiyik. The Wolastoqiyik, along with their indigenous neighbors, the Mi'kmaq and the Pescatomakati, signed peace and friendship treaties with the British Crown in the 1700s that protected their rights to lands and resources.
Let us take a few minutes just to pause and reflect. Okay, I'll ask everyone to stand for the national anthem. And tonight we have a special guest, and I'm handing it over to Councillor Stewart to introduce her.
Thank you, Your Worship. So you may know this young lady as the lead singer of the Southern Comfort Band or half of the acoustic duo Mike and Mel. Maybe you even know her, that she's responsible for some of the delicious menu items that you see on Facebook from some of our more popular restaurants. That's her company, The Image Factory. She's here tonight to sing our national anthem. Let's all welcome my friend, the former Melanie Petrie, but recently married, Melanie Emerson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and senior leadership. It's a pleasure and an honor being here this evening, so let's please stand up and honor our flag. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
That gives me the shivers, Melanie.
You can say, no, I'm watch online. I got the photos to go take.
I heard that. That's not true.
Okay, City Clerk, next item.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next item is approval of the minutes of April the 2nd.
April the 2nd, approval of minutes. Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Harris on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next is the approval of the agenda. There are 3 items coming from Committee of the Whole. So those items are 17.1, NDA for police software, 17.2, cyber insurance claim, and 17.3, appointments to committees.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to approve the agenda with the additions. Councillor Stewart and Councillor Hickey on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next is disclosures of conflicts of interest, if we have any.
Not seeing any, so next item.
Next is item 5, consent agenda.
Deputy, over to you for the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would move 5.1 through to 5.6, please.
Take a seconder on that. Councillor Sullivan. On the question, Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just some thank yous with regards to 5.5, the contract on the Milledgeville Avenue boat ramp rehabilitation project. Well, if rehabilitation is the crumbling asphalt and gravel that's at the end of the street, being a boater, this is the first time in my lifetime memory that we've actually had a real boat ramp that's going to be constructed in a city that has the river on one side and the port on the other. But some thank yous. One is to MLA Trevor Holder and the work that he did to get 40% of this funded by the provincial government, so that's not all on our dime. So thank you to MLA Holder, and especially thank you to our engineering department, who did a ton of work putting this together and had to put up with consultations with some local boaters who were pretty demanding, and our engineers really came through. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Councillor, for your work on that. Councillor Ogden.
I'd like to thank Councillor Sullivan for his work on it. I was a member there, and everybody used to talk about it all the time, and I would easily just say, Councillor Sullivan's handling this, and he did a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Killen?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to call attention to Derek May, who is here, who is helping to organize Take Out the Trash Day this Saturday. So basically all over town, there's going to be bins that they've gotten from donated from JTR, I think, and there's going to be cleanups happening all over the city. So I'm going to be over at the west side. Councillor Hickey, I think, is down at Carleton Community Center. Councillor Harris is going to be in the north end. Councillor Radwan's going to be at the Good Life Fitness. So y'all over on the other side, I think there's a bit of a challenge here for you to show up to some of these cleanups that are happening. It's a great group effort. They're seeing lots of solidarity in the community with getting this town cleaned up for the spring. So really appreciate you and Andrew showing up as well to, be here to make sure that we're held accountable to get out there and be part of the solution to beautifying St. John. So we look forward to seeing lots of folks out this weekend and over the next few months, just being part of the solution. It's really appreciated to see a lot of folks online rallying, getting together, coming up with ideas. And shout out to Councillor Harris over there too for his Vacant to Vibrant efforts. If anyone wants to know more about what the Tool Library is up to on that front, I would suggest checking out his personal Facebook. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Now, I haven't called the question yet on the consent agenda, so you're just ahead of yourself, and we're good with that. You're on a roll. That's right. I wasn't going to stop that. Councillor Norton, over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Speaking of part of the solution, there's lots of agencies, boards, and commissions available to be part of that solution. So I know we often advertise it on our city website, but for those listening, we're looking for active members for everything from the Pension Board, Fort Latour Development Authority, TD Station Commission, ProKids, St. John Aquatic Center Commission, St. John Board of Police Commissioners, Community Arts Board, St. John Energy, St. John Free Public Library, Substandard Properties Appeal Committee, and St. John Transit and St. John Industrial Parks. There's seats available for every single one of those, and many of the folks that participate on those find themselves in extra leadership positions within our community. So please, if those interest you, submit your name. And we're happy to have you involved. A vacant seat isn't any benefit to us, so get your name in there, participate, and I would say, be part of the solution for any of those ABCs that interest you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Now, Deputy, do you have a question on the consent agenda? Okay. All right. I am going to call the question, but before I do, I just want to highlight that 5.4 is the contract for the Dominion Park Road sanitary lift stations. That's through the Disaster Mitigation Fund. And we're going to end up doing, I think, 9 lift stations with that. So just to highlight that. So on the consent agenda, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next item, City Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next is members' comments.
Members' comments, over to you, Deputy.
I jumped the queue. All right. So everybody in St. John's used to the recycling program, which is great because it's going to be going provincial-wide. It's going to be under different contractors throughout the province. Our contractor is going to be Circular Materials, and they will be picking up your recyclables going forward after May the 1st. After May the 1st. So your date will be changed, your collection people will change, and it's a big change for the whole province. But it's a bigger change for the rest of the province than it is for us. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that, and that's coming May 1st. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Councillor Hickey?
Thanks very much, Your Worship. It's like we could all hold hands now that we have no plexiglass here.
We could.
Great. I wanted to recognize, since we're in the middle of spring, we've got some amazing community groups stepping up to start a cleanup on our city streets. Particular shout out to the Taking Out the Trash team that has come together. We've got some of their leadership here today in Derek and Andrew, and that's happening on April the 20th. It's starting at 10 a.m. As Councillor Killen mentioned, there's spots all over the city. I know Derek's going to be in Waterloo Village community. He's been an incredible advocate for. Guys like Dan Scott are going to be in McAllister Place. I'll be at Carleton Community Center. And then the following Monday, there's going to be another cleanup led by Pulse, that's going to be at Pitt Street and Elliott Row. Then May 4th, they're going to do another one that's going to be on Duke Street at 157. May 11th, they'll be down at Pulse at 251 Wentworth Street. As Councillor Lowe will be there with his team on that day to make sure that Tin Can Beach gets the cleanup it needs. And I want to particularly shout out both Mary Lesage and Lisa Morris for putting that together. And should you be so inclined to start a community cleanup as well, the city always has available the Green Machine, which is there to support those community efforts to keep our streets clean. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Harris, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some great shout outs to the cleanup happened this weekend. Earth Day is not far around the corner, so if you're busy this weekend and you can't help clean up the city, there's going to be more opportunities, and so keep your eye out for that. Without going into any more of that, there's lots of information we can find out about taking out the trash on Facebook. We should just be directing everybody there too, to just chime in on times and any updates. They're on social, so check that out. I want to give a special shout out to a person from outside the community that's been around and making a pretty big impact and supporting some local initiatives. Former Chief of Tobique First Nation, Edwin Bernard. Special thank you. I've seen him around to a number of different initiatives. A lot of different plans. We saw him as well as Chief Ross Purley involved with the Birch Hill grand opening that happened a little while ago, and then the Tesla Megapack opening. And it's just been amazing to see First Nations groups from all the way up in Tobique, but whose territory does reach down here, more involved. And I'm excited for what they have coming up next. There's been all kinds of conversations. And so just a special thank you goes out to them, as well as to that band and to all the volunteers and organizers up there in Tobique that have their eyes on St. John for economic development, for industrial development. There's all kinds of things being talked about, and it's exciting. And energy development, as we've already seen. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sullivan?
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess some condolences in the teaching community to hand out. First, longtime St. John High School teacher Bruce Campbell passed away this past week. Bruce was not only my grade 11 homeroom teacher, he was treasurer at my church, he was involved in the community, he was at St. John High for 30 years, and alumni will know him very well. So condolences to Bruce's family. Also this past week, Brian Gregg. Brian was many, many years at Harborview in River Valley before that. And also served in a volunteer capacity for most of his career, supporting teachers. And he was a teacher for over 40 years. And Brian passed away as well recently. So, our condolences to them. Moving to something a little more positive. And I mentioned this last meeting, it's getting closer. On Star Wars Day, May the 4th, there will be a live auction at the Hope Center in support of bringing a newcomer family to St. John. So viewing from 11 till 1, and then the auction will start at 1. Should be a great social time. Come out, support a great cause in supporting a newcomer family and have some fun and spend some money, remember, it's not about getting a good deal, it's about winning. Come on out.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ogden?
I'd like to give condolences to old-time, long-time Coach B. And
His name's Joe Flynn. He was known by everybody. He was on the original Canada Ames committee. Talked me into helping out refurbish the stadium. He was on our recreation committee, and he talked me into going on that. And he was on a major tournament committee, and people probably don't remember this, but the Blue Jays came here to play. They got snowed out. We had an NBA game. We brought in the AHL. Joe was part of that. And we had 2 CFL football games. We had international rugby at our stadium. Scotland versus Canada on TSN. And we had Croatia versus Canada on TSN, all within a couple of years of each other. And we have a fabulous stadium. And at one time, we used it a lot. And the city put a lot of money into it. So I just want to pay homage to Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Radwan?
Thank you, Mayor. It's definitely a beautiful day outside today, and hopefully it will be on April the 20th for the cleanup. That once again, I just wanted to quickly thank the crew for all of the efforts, Derek May and William Dory and Dan Scott and everybody else that's part of the cleanup on the 20th. But I also wanted to give my condolences, unfortunately, to Jonathan Calhoun and Rayanne Tyler's family, who were the 2 individuals that died in the tent encampment fire. And unfortunately, in having conversations with one of our local social workers, we actually have lost 9 people in the last month, all due to issues around them not being housed. So very important for us to get some more services for addictions, mental health, and if anybody's looking to do any development, especially affordable housing, they can contact the One Stop Shop, and staff are always there ready to go.
Thank you, Councillor. I will also send out condolences this evening. My friend and neighbor, Kim Sully McGee, died this week, and I send condolences to her husband, Frank. It was unexpected, and a death is never easy, but Kim is a young woman. So to Frank and her family, I send my sincere condolence on behalf of the City of St. John. They lived in the Uptown, and they were big supporters of the Uptown. They loved to have fun, and they enjoyed life, and they were great fun to be around. Okay, City Clerk, next item.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is under consideration of bylaws. Item 10.1 is the first item, and it's a law to amend a bylaw respecting water and sewage, first and second reading.
Okay, I'm sending this one over to Mr. Commissioner Fogan for the intro. Where is he?
Thank you, Your Worship. To Council, just introductory remarks on this one. This bylaw is for consideration up tonight is to give authority to the Commissioner to set parameters around exceptional use of the water system. This would only come into effect in very rare circumstances and really for when use of the system might result in damage to the system. So the purpose is not to disallow, but to establish rules and procedures as to how that exceptional use can and could occur. And also the consequences for rules and procedures is spelled out if those rules and procedures are not followed. So with that, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you. City Clerk, I'll pass it over to you for the motions that are required.
Thank you. So only 2 motions required for this one. It would be first reading by title and second reading by title.
Okay, so okay, thank you, Deputy. And Councillor Hickey on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A law to amend a bylaw respecting water and sewage.
Okay, and I'll take a motion to approve second reading by title. Councillor Stewart and Councillor Harris on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A bylaw to amend a bylaw respecting water and sewage.
Thank you. Next item, City Clerk.
Next is item 10.2, and this is another bylaw amendment, and it's for proposed zoning bylaw amendment for 730 to 740 Foster Thurston Drive, and this is a third reading.
Thank you. Commissioner Poffenroff, over to you, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship and members of council, before you this evening for third reading is a rezoning application which was submitted for the Glenn Carpenter Center from the YMCA located at 730 to 740 Foster Thurston Drive. This application seeks to rezone the site to allow for a child care facility. The application did receive first and second reading on April 2nd, following the required public hearing, and I can confirm that all legislative requirements of the Community Planning Act have been met, and the item is now before you to move forward with third reading. And Jennifer Kushner, the Community Planning Manager, is available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I was going to say City Clerk. Would you like to tell us what we need? I've got a
Well,
mover on
the
one.
deputy was correct. So we required two motions, one for third reading in entirety and a second motion for third reading by title.
Okay, so I've got a mover for approval of third reading by entirety and Councillor Hickey on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A law to amend the zoning bylaw of the City of St. John. The zoning bylaw of the City of St. John enacted on the 15th day of December 2014 is amended by rezoning a parcel of land having an area of approximately 82.58 hectares located at 730 to 740 Foster Thurston Drive, also identified as PID 000-52746, 551-50791, and 000-52654, and 55150809 from rural to major community facility.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to approve third reading by title. Councillor Lowe and the deputy on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A law to amend the zoning bylaw of the City of St. John.
Thank you. We have Charlotte Boucher of the YMCA consequently in the audience tonight. Thanks for being here. Okay, City Clerk, next item.
Next is 10.3, another bylaw, and this one is a bylaw respecting the construction, repair, and demolition of buildings, and this is third reading.
Commissioner Poffenroff, over to you for the intro on this one.
Thank you. Your Worship and members of council, the proposed amendment to the building bylaw received first and second reading on April 2nd and is now before you to move forward with third reading. The amendment will allow for the designation of more than one deputy building inspectors, which will help to achieve operational efficiencies and enhance customer service. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay,
there are any.
over to you, City Clerk, for the motions.
Two motions on this one, approve reading by entirety and approve third reading by title.
Approve third reading by entirety. Councillor Killen and Councillor Harris on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A bylaw to amend a bylaw respecting the construction, repair, and demolition of buildings in the City of St. John made under the authority of the Building Code Administration Act and amendments thereto. A bylaw of the City of St. John entitled A Bylaw Respecting the Construction, Repair, and Demolition of Buildings in the City of St. John enacted on the 12th day of December 2022 is hereby amended as follows. 1. Section 27.3 is repealed and replaced with the following. Council may appoint one or more deputy building inspectors who shall be subject to the direction of the building inspector. Item 2, subsection 27.4 is repealed and replaced with the following. A deputy building inspector shall be acting building inspector and shall have all the powers and duties of the building inspector in the event of the absence or the disability of the building inspector or when there is no building inspector. Section 3, subsection 27.5 is repealed and replaced with the following. Council may from time to time appoint an acting building inspector who shall have the powers and duties of the building inspector in the absence or the disability of both the building inspector and the deputy building inspectors.
Okay, I'll take a motion to approve third reading by title. Councillor Hickey and the deputy on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
A bylaw to amend a bylaw respecting the construction, repair, and demolition of buildings in the City of St. John made under the authority of the Building Code Administration Act and amendments thereto.
Okay, next item, City Clerk.
Next is under general correspondence, item 15.1 is a submission from Melander and Thompson, 1671 Sandy Point Road, declared as surplus property. There's a recommendation to receive this for information and refer it over to the Growth Committee.
Okay, you're going to move that recommendation. Deputy, I'll take a seconder on it. Councillor Sullivan, on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, City Clerk.
Next, we have 15.2, St. John Rapids Organization, urgent need for lacrosse facility in St. John, and a recommendation to refer this to the CAO for follow-up.
Take Councillor Sullivan. Councillor Killen, you have your hand up? Okay. I will note that we should have all gotten an email today from Mark Dion regarding some of the process that's already been happening, progress with this. Councillor Ogden, over to you.
Yeah, I think this group has suggested that they do contact Brent and offer some solutions, and I'm glad they did, and I'm glad Mark Dion and Brent handled this. But it gets back into, we closed 2 rinks in this city, and we have a number of fields that we closed. And we've discouraged people from participating by doing this. So I'm hoping this council got elected on recreation and that we can move forward with a strategy, because of closing those 2 rinks and shutting those fields did discourage participation in recreation. But I'm glad that Mark Dion and Brent McGovern helped these people solve their problem.
Okay, so I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, City Clerk.
Next is item 15.3, a letter from Kay Harrington, public feedback Rockwood Park decision regarding 1671 Sandy Point Road. Again, a recommendation from staff to receive this for information and refer it to the Growth Committee.
I'll take a motion on that. Councillor Hickey and the deputy. On the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next is 15.4, letter with respect to Moose Hide campaign, request for a proclamation. Recommendation is to refer to the clerk to prepare the proclamation.
I'll take a motion for that. Councillor Norton and Councillor Hickey. On the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
And next is a letter from A. Pottle with respect to open pit at top of King Street. Recommendation is to refer this to an upcoming meeting of Growth Committee.
So moved.
Councillor Harris and Councillor Killen on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next are the items that came from Committee of the Whole. And so the first one is the subject is execution of non-disclosure agreement for police software security professional services. And the resolution would read that the city enter into a non-disclosure agreement in the form generally presented to Committee of the Whole at its meeting of April 15th with Versatem Public Safety, Inc., Mariner Security Solutions, the St. John Police Board of Commissioners, and the St. John the City of St. John for the work relating to the implementation of new records management system for the St. John Police Force, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the said non-disclosure agreement and any documents ancillary thereto.
Okay, I'll take a motion. Councillor Hickey. And I'll take a seconder on the Councillor Killen on the questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Next is item 17.2 from Committee of the Whole, and the topic is cyber insurance claim. And the resolution reads, it is recommended the city execute the full and final release and assignment agreement, generally in the form as presented to Committee of the Whole at its meeting of April 15th, in favor of AIG Insurance Company of Canada for the purpose of settling the claim stemming from cyber insurance policy 03-9819830, which will result in the city receiving the full face value of the policy, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the said release and any documents ancillary thereto.
Good news. Thank you. I'll take them over. Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Norton on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, City Clerk.
The final item from Committee of the Whole are recommendations for appointments to committees. And the first recommendation, the recommendation reads, resolved that the Committee of the Whole, having met on April 15th, recommended the following appointments to committees: that Councillor Ogden be appointed to the Growth Committee to replace Councillor Killen for the remainder of his current term on council, and further that Deputy Mayor Mackenzie be appointed as Chair of the Growth Committee, and further that Councillor Killen be appointed to Public Safety Committee to replace Councillor Sullivan for the remainder of her current term on council.
Okay, I'll take a motion on that. Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Lowe on the question. All in favor? Oh, sorry. Question?
Mayor, I always like to vote the same way out here as I did in the back room, but we voted on these separately. Can I vote on them separately? Or wait,
Yeah, we can pull them apart.
is that okay? Okay. I never want to vote differently out here than I did in Committee of the Whole, so.
Okay, so,
Mayor, yes, I can read them in separate.
okay, we'll do
so-
them in separately then so that we can vote on the three of them separately.
Okay, so the first part, resolved that Committee of the Whole, having met on April 15th, recommend the following appointments to committees. So one piece would be that Councillor Ogden be appointed to the Growth Committee to replace Councillor Killen for the remainder of his current term on council.
Okay, I'll take a mover and a second. Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Lowe on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next one.
And the second piece, that Deputy Mayor Mackenzie be appointed as Chair of the Growth Committee.
Okay, I'll take a motion for that. Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Ogden on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Radwan opposed. Motion carried. Next item.
And next, that Councillor Killen be appointed to Public Safety Committee to replace Councillor Sullivan for the remainder of her current term on council.
Councillor Sullivan and Councillor Stewart on the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's all
All
of the
right.
motions. Your
Before I get you, Councillor Lowe, I just want to thank Andrew and Derek for being here tonight. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you in my members' comments earlier, but I appreciate you being here. It's always nice. I love the cleanups. You know, we get so many, lots of times people are like, what can the city do for us? You know, can the city do this? Can the city do this? But it's wonderful when those groups get out there and they actually do wonderful things for the city. And cleaning up the city is huge because it's the face, it's what everyone sees when they come to the city. It's what I see when I walk down the street every day. So I really do appreciate the efforts that the public puts into cleaning up the streets, especially in the springtime. And like Councillor Hickey said, we've got the green machine available and to make it a little bit more fun. Anyway, and I want to thank staff for being here tonight and for all the work. Thank my team. And Councillor Lowe, over to you for the final motion. Thank you kindly. I'll take a seconder on that. Councillor, the deputy, all in favor? Thanks, everyone.